Welcome, Malgity speaking, and welcome back to some Civilization World Cup highlights. This time we're going back to the semifinals, actually a very important match for both teams where Double Apadana faced Nekst Vigraem, so a CPL team against the Russian team. There was actually a lot of action, many things happened, so without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. It was a Pangea map, relatively standard, but there was a huge range of land to the left, as you can see, where there was actually a duel between Tomb Raider on the Kree and Pelman playing Persia, so Tomb Raider for Double Padana here. There was an ally from Persia here for Central Game playing for the Russian team as well, right to his right. To the north, there was Skycard playing Mapuche, and also there was Korny playing Poland as well, a little bit further for Double Apadana team this time for both of them. To the south, there was still Russia being played by a destroyer, and finally there was also the archetype here playing for Double Apadana here, playing France, Catherine France. So overall, the setup was relatively standard for the map. Lots of CCs in the middle. Last player was actually Colento playing Maori. I decided to go to the right side, even though there was a mono on the left, and it created a very forward setup actually for the capital, which created a lot of action very early on. Double Apadana invested a lot in Okichita to try to block the Maori here and try to gain position. And it was really at the edge of the first round because the Okichita managed to get the positions up. There was a settler that got out for Colento here, so it was very, very on the edge to try to be able to defend. But as time passed, eventually the Okichita alone were not enough to do it, so there was a try to go for a transition with archers behind this. During all this time, we saw Tomb Raider was on one single city, so it was getting very rough. To the north, you can see the ally from Maori here trying to go for his general as well, try to apply as well pressure eventually on Tomb Raider to the south. So Pelman was arriving an amazing game. The were generals as well tried for Scythia here, as you can see, like where he was going to put his third city. Very important, actually, the sim from Scythia early on, he managed to get the Uluru as well, worked out early to be able to have a better timing. But let's go back to see how the Maori managed to defend, actually, because suddenly he was taking back an edge on that front. Scout from Persia here blocked encampment to ensure the generals would get taken, so it was a small victory, and we can see here the early region from Poland here being taken with along with the Pantheon for the horses here. The game sort of stabilized at this point, but besides the front of the south, because the archers were lined up, so nothing could pass. But when the horses got up for Maori, it was getting much harder to defend. And at the same time, there were Saka horse archers as well from the Russian team going to check what the archetype had as well to the south. So Double Apadana team was put under pressure in every single direction. Some horses arrived on Tananarivo as well to take a city. There was still a good sim put in place with Artemis Nabor from the Russian player here, but the Oracle was launched for Korn as well and tried to get a cultural victory on Poland. Central Games actually managed to get the early lead on the positions between him and France, so he managed to take actually the lead as well on that front. And Persia arrived with some troops to help out to the south, so it was very difficult for Tomb Raider to defend. We see also Maori decided to settle back on the left side to cross back the ocean because there was not enough room on the right side to keep settling more cities while this was going on. And from this point on, Tomb Raider was still in one city, which was very little for that city of the game, and was slowly losing now on every front, making this effectively a 3 versus 4. Double Apadana really had to find some sort of solution to try to turn the tides in their favor, as they even lost Brussels to Central Games, and finally Archetype was being put under pressure as well to the south, making this a very difficult position for Double Apadana to come back into the game. At the same time, the capital from Tomb Raider was finally falling against a 2 versus 1 from Persia and Maori combined pressure, making this officially a 3 versus 4 from this stage. Overall, Skycard managed to find some sort of opening though with horses and went down to try to test Scythia and try to relieve some pressure from his ally to the south. Maori continued to settle the coast as well, and finally good defense from Central Games managed to get some walls up and get to a few units to completely negate the push, and at the same time managed to raise the city from France to the south. So very well played by Central Games here, who managed to hold off the pressure and keep applying pressure on Archetype as well. The sim from all players was being put into place relatively nicely. Winter Stars took Jerusalem here without too much action, and courses arrived finally to try to fish Archetype alongside some frigates from Persia. It was very, by this point, a 2 versus 4, as Archetype could really not hold any more pressure. From the Russian team again, Kosak got out to try to annoy the Cornet, but without it was too little, too far actually. You can see here the last images from France trying to defend his last cities. It was very well played by Archetype, but it was just too much overwhelmed by on all sides by both Persia, Scythia, even and Saka horse archers. There was Auckland for Maui as well, as you could see, and now we can see the targeted capitals falling. So it really helped him out because he managed to often get his bonuses on all the cities. And eventually, the cities will be given to Persia, and one city will be given to Russia, which was effectively the player trying to countering the cultural victory from Poland. So even though there were only 2 players left, the cultural victory was well engaged. So they decided to try to play it out and see if it could actually go through. So the Wanderers were there. They had a good setup. They just had to try to keep the pressure off of Poland here, and this is what Skycar was trying to do. But they started to be surrounded on all sides by naval and land. We see a settle here from Maori and an army. There was also Persia and a fleet as well to the northern Mapuche. It was very hard. Beautiful wonders were being built actually. St. Basil Cathedral there, Temple Mayor here for Russia. All a little bit to help out defend the cultural victory, obviously. And we also got a Chichen Itza for Persia as well. It was very interesting to see how the players got to sim up. And eventually, Corey managed to get planes up before everyone and managed to actually defend and fend off most of the pressure from Poland, from Maori, sorry. So eventually, he was even able to progress on Russia as well, turning the table into the favor. But it was just a little bit too little, too late. Even though the planes were up and they gained ground on the southern front, there was just no victory conditions possible anymore, as the cultural victory was very well defended by the opposing team. So Nekst Vigraem finally won the game by concede, which meant they would advance to the finals. If you liked it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and so on. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time.